There are two main tools financial firms and RAs typically use to share out files. But the question is, which one keeps you compliant and which one doesn't? Which one creates headaches for your team and which one doesn't? And if you're wondering, what are my credentials? I run an IT company. This is what we do all day long for financial firms. So I have hands-on experience with both of these tools, and they both act in similar ways, but there are some core differences, and I want to share that with you. So that way, one, you're not spending money that you don't need to spend, but two, you make the right decision for you and your team. How are you doing? My name is Harrison Barron from SecureWealthIT.com. We help financial firms and RIAs specifically make sure that not only they're compliant, their technology works the way that they want, and things just flow the right way. Your employees come onboarded correctly. You don't have to worry about a malicious employee. God forbid you get one, we can get rid of them and their headaches pretty quickly. And making sure that your data's backed up, you're archived correctly. If you want to learn more about us, you can head over to SecureWealthIT.com. In there, we have a ton of information, who we are, what we do, how we help people, all that good stuff. And we also have some resources as well. So if you want to go check out those resources, I promise you there are many things in the works at this moment, especially as we talk to more and more and more of you guys. There have been a ton of people reaching out. I'm just trying to make sure that we have the best things on our website. So let's talk about the two tools. And I'm just going to share my screen one more time here because one of the tools is by Microsoft SharePoint specifically, right? You have a ton of new stuff and kind of cool stuff on here. And then you also have ShareFile, not to be confused with SharePoint. They are very, very similar. One is from Microsoft, one is from Citrix, now by Progress. They've purchased it and they do it, right? And you can see here they both have a ton of new cool features and that kind of thing. And you can kind of see what they offer and who offers what, right? One of the things I want to get out right before we dive into it, right, is pricing here. So if you get Microsoft Business Premium, it actually comes with it. There's not an additional expense. Whereas if you go to ShareFile, on the other hand, your pricing is anywhere between $16.50 a month all the way up to potentially $70 per month. And that's if you pay annually. If it's monthly, it's just shy of $20 all the way up to just shy of $80. For the most part, most people are going to fall into that $20 to $45 range. And I think price is something super important to kind of just keep up on because there's a lot that actually goes into this. And I know we're all going to be running directly to it. And I will also include the links to both down below. But let's talk about the tools, right? Let's talk about ShareFile first, right? The green one. It's built by Progress. It was formerly Citrix, and it's positioned as a secure file sharing platform. They both really are in most cases. And the nice part is there is a client portal too. That is a huge one, right? It has a strong external sharing capability. And what I mean by that is sometimes you have to go through and either allow, or when you share probably a document, it's like this person is trying to reach in and you have to actually approve that. That's one of the things where it makes a sharing experience very, very easy. Now, on the flip side of things, we have Microsoft SharePoint, which is part of the Microsoft 365 suite. And the nice part about that is it's built by a multi-billion or maybe even $1 trillion company at this point. And it works seamlessly with everything. It integrates with your stack normally. Now, if you're a financial firm, more often than not, you're going to be on the Microsoft stack. And what I mean by that is Microsoft 365 and all of the good things that I kind of just shared on my screen right there with their plans, right? You have Microsoft Business Standard and then Business Premium. And I would never recommend Standard to any financial firm. You need the features that come in Business Premium specifically for the enterprise grade security and purview and some other things as well. Nobody watching this video should theoretically be on Standard or, God forbid, the $7 version. It comes with all of it, and it's the suite of tools you like: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, and the whole suite, right? So it comes with that. That's the nice part about it. And it's integrated in their whole family. Microsoft has spent a ton of time not only building it, but making sure that it integrates. Now, I want to talk about compliance and security because some people are very, very worried about that. Thankfully, both of these kind of meet compliance in most cases, right? You need audit trails and access logs. Thankfully, both offer this. And what an audit trail is just basically anytime somebody accesses something or logs into something, there has to be documentation that says, hey, this person's doing this at this time, and when did they do it, or where did they go? They both offer this, but the depth at which it is actually offered is slightly different. That's really the only thing. Will it pass SEC audits? For the most part, yes. Are they going to go that deep? unless you get a really rough auditor. But for the most part, they are made to send sensitive documents and sensitive files. You really have nothing to worry about them. The other thing that you have to think about is data retention and worm style archiving. So worm, WORM, same thing that you see crawling around on the ground, right, is write once, read many. Meaning, think about it as a stone tablet, right? If you were writing things into a stone tablet, you could only write it once. You can't really cross it off on a stone tablet, and even if you do, you can't delete it or get rid of it. It's kind of the same thing, but you can read it as many times as you want. It's the exact same thing. They both have worm formatting, and you have to just make sure that you turn that on as far as what actually happens. But this is for archiving books and records, all of that good stuff, your emails, your documents, all of that built, I shouldn't say built in, but all of that you plan on sharing has to be like that. So once it's there, it's pretty much saved. You can't go back and modify it, or if you do, it makes a copy of it and says, hey, this is everything that was done on it already. And then encryption. I know that this is kind of confusing, but there is at rest, meaning while it's in there, it's encrypted, but also in transit when you're actually sharing it. Both of them meet that already. Now, as far as a client point of view, I would argue to say that ShareFile has a bit of a better user interface. However, clients aren't checking these documents at every hour of every day. You have to send them a document that they either might have to sign or open and just view to give you the verbal okay. Either way, totally fine, right? But don't worry so much about that. That's not the worst thing in the world. If you're looking for the best user experience in the world, yeah, ShareFile is probably better, and we're a Microsoft partner. SharePoint is great, but there are some little hiccups and caveats to it. But once again, you probably already have it. And at this point in today's day and age, as long as your clients aren't super, super old, they've probably already gotten some documents directly from SharePoint as well. That's really where the two differences are. Now, for compliance and security, I typically err on the side of caution, just go with Microsoft, although ShareFile is fantastic because you do have that sharing, and they know that people that are using it are typically going to be sending out sensitive documents. So making sure that it actually reaches it, and you can see here, accounting, construction, finance, like they know their target market, and they know that they need to meet certain criteria. Now, for the Microsoft Suite is designed with that enterprise level in it, so it's going to help you and do a lot of that for you so you don't actually have to really worry about it all that much. So just kind of something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about real world usability. Because we covered the boring stuff, let's get into the fun stuff. And if you enjoy this type of content, I really appreciate it if you just took 2 seconds to hit that like button, subscribe button, and maybe even that notification bell. But let's talk about real world usability, because there is a lot to this, and I kind of already mentioned it before. Now, if you're onboarding, right, or you're trying to get involved in this, there's kind of 2 schools of thought. One, you already have the tool. Just use the tool. It's not the end of the world if you have to take a little bit of extra time to learn it. You're going to have to learn both anyway. Now, I do like the Microsoft experience. I will also say the ShareFile experience has been great. I'm also somebody that lives on a computer pretty much. I don't leave the house without it. It's a joke that me and my wife have. She's like, oh, where's your computer? I think I've left the house without a computer traveling. Maybe I could probably count it on one hand. I always have a computer with me. You never know when you're going to need to punch in. Now, our personal preference at Secure Wealth IT is I like the Microsoft stack. It's just a holistic, it's already in there approach. There's not an additional tool. You know that it comes with everybody. The other thing that I really, really like about that is you don't have to just store documents in there. You could pretty much store anything, right? They talk about design, create, deliver, flexible layouts, right? Ready-made agents. There's a lot that works, and it all comes together inside of the Microsoft Suite, which also has Copilot as well. Now, am I a little biased? I don't love Copilot. I prefer Claude at this point. But if you are meeting, and especially for the SEC rules and regulations, you need to have a AI compliance or a AI guidance for your entire team, and in which case Microsoft easily fills that gap. But the nice part is Microsoft SharePoint, it's already there. You can share things, especially if it's internal. It is probably the easiest, and you get a ton of storage with it right off the bat. You don't have to worry about, oh, now I got to worry about adding more and more storage. Now, ShareFile is a great tool as well, but it's a separate interface, it's a separate charge, it's another thing that you have to deal with. Nothing against ShareFile. I think they did and still do an amazing job. But if you're like, let me consolidate a little bit more on that, you probably already have the Microsoft stack either way. Now, if you are on the Google side of things, there's a lot of gray area with Google because Google doesn't have the enterprise controls. And if Google doesn't have those enterprise controls that the SEC wants, then you probably need ShareFile. Even though you have the entire back end of Google, when sharing out those documents, that's when you get in the gray area because all those documents are not in worm format unless you get an additional third-party tool installed inside of your Google environment. That is going to be the catch. And even then, it's still a gray area on how well it's actually going to work. But as far as costs go, I mean, we saw it, right? You're talking about $30 a month of a suite that you already pay for versus anywhere between $20 to about $45 a month with SharePoint as well, or better yet, ShareFile. Sorry, I don't know why they named them so close. But which one wins for your firm, right? If you are a smaller team, if you're on Google, then ShareFile is probably a great choice. I don't want to push anyone away from ShareFile, right? You can share it. You can make those links expire after a certain period of time. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it. I've gotten ShareFile files before, and they're fantastic. And look at this. You can just turn on encryption in there as well. Now, if you set up your Microsoft tenant correctly, meaning the environment that you operate in, all of this comes kind of out of the box. And because it's part of that Microsoft umbrella, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing inside of Microsoft, that top layer, they're going to pre-configure everything. It's going to essentially trickle down, for lack of a better term. So you don't have to worry about, this isn't done correctly, or this is kind of weird or off, right? Typically, larger RAs are already on Microsoft 365. Obviously, you're going to go with SharePoint. If you're kind of new and you want to pick the stack that you really want, ShareFile is great, but it's another bill. It's another thing that you have to deal with. Now, I will tell you, I have met firms, and even myself a little bit, where I get frustrated with Microsoft. Full transparency there. You may, if you are like, I have Microsoft because of the email and because of my videos, or somebody else has told you to be on Microsoft, but you don't like everything. Me personally, I also don't like Teams. Don't tell anybody. But if that's the case and Microsoft's just driving you crazy, then use ShareFile. It's a fantastic resource as well. In many cases, it comes down to personal preference. Are you trying to save money? Not necessarily cut corners, but you're trying to save money and be a holistic approach, or do you just not want another tool to be in? They're both fine. And to round out the last part of this video, I kind of went through and just made a little cross comparison, right? Cost if already on 365, there's no savings, right? On SharePoint, right? Cost if already on Microsoft 365, often already included with their license, which is nice. You also have client sharing with SharePoint, right? You also have client sharing with ShareFile, and you could pause the video. I'm not going to go through on here, right? SharePoint, the setup time is slower, usually needs IT to configure it. Full transparency there as well. Where ShareFile, you pretty much don't need it. It'll walk you through it and make sure that you don't mess it up, right? Compliance features, deeper retention, and records management, but needs correct setup, once again, for SEC exams. Where compliance features on ShareFile, right, it offers all of those, but and deep retention controls, but once again, it is going to take a little bit of setup on your end. And then internal collaboration. If you are thinking about, hey, I need to share our files every once in a while, but we need to save files and move files around fairly quickly among our team, SharePoint is quite literally the no-brainer. ShareFile, on the other hand, is not designed for sharing files among your team. That is probably the biggest thing that I didn't include in the best part of, or in the meat and potatoes of this video. So if you are a firm already on Microsoft 365 that want one system for internal and external, SharePoint's fantastic. But if you want an additional tool, you want the deeper features on it, or you just want to know, hey, I'd rather just go to this and know that I use that one tool for when I send out an email, ShareFile is going to be fantastic. Whatever you pick, both the links are down below. I appreciate you checking out this video. If this video helped, like button, subscribe button, notification bell. I truly, truly appreciate it. It helps guide my videos too. If I realize that people are engaging with videos or watching them, I will be inclined to make more of them versus less exciting topics that you might not be interested in. So it helps me as well. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.